Hey, happy Tuesday, everyone. Jo here at SportsGrid. It's time for a Puck with Jo. Game 5 tonight, and what an explosive game 4. We had lots of people expecting that sweep out there, including myself. But the way Edmonton was able to come out with that fire, with that grit, you could tell in that first period things were over and done for the Florida Panthers. Now the book's looking for a different outcome tonight. We're looking at the lines right now. The Florida Panthers rolling in at minus 156. They've moved so much during the day over here on FanDuel. Last night, they were sitting around minus 130, minus 137, right around that mark. And now 20 points higher. So minus 156 is the money line bet here for the Florida Panthers. If you think they hoist that cup tonight, if you think they win this by multiple goals, laying the 1.5 coming in at plus 168 with a chance of the empty netter. I do lean on the laying the 1.5 at plus 168, but I don't think Edmonton's going to go away that easy. So I can't touch it. I really do think this could be an overtime style game. I was expecting more games in this series to go to overtime. These two teams have been absolutely battling it out. Now the Edmonton Oilers are plus 130 on the money line, and that total sitting at 5.5. I like this one to go over the 5.5 at minus 105. We saw the floodgates open in the last game. Edmonton being able to put up 8 goals, and it was so crazy to see. 15 of their 18 skaters out there on the ice registered 1 point or more. All of those lines did get mixed up in the last game, except for the third line. All of the lines did score as well. So pretty incredible game. Connor McDavid finally had the game we were all expecting out of him in this series. 4 points. So 4 points, 1 goal. The rest were assists out there. It was an incredible matchup for the Oilers fans. Now, I love the environment that you saw in Edmonton. And selfishly, I would love to see this go to game 6 and go to game 7 because I'm not ready for the season to be done. But this Florida Panthers team really has dominated throughout this series. Now, Game 1 was won because of Bobrovsky. That went totally to Bobrovsky. I don't put any weight on the rest of the team. The Edmonton Oilers actually outplayed them in Game 1 when you look at all those numbers. Game 2, the Florida Panthers dominated. Game 3, the Florida Panthers dominated. In Game 4, the Edmonton Oilers dominated. If Edmonton is going to be able to get back and win this series, we haven't seen a team in the Stanley Cup Finals win it that we're down 3-1 going into game 5 like this since 82 years, 1942. That was the number I was looking for, 82 years. So it has been a long time. We haven't seen the cup hoisted in Canada for 31 years. Will Edmonton make history? Well, they're going to have to get past game 5 tonight, and I'm just not sure they can do so. I think the best bet is looking at the over 5.5 at minus 105. Bobrovsky has had 2 games in the playoffs where he's been steamrolled like we saw in the last game. Now, this was the first game he got yanked and Stolarz came in, and he didn't have a great game either. But looking at Bobrovsky, he does have that bounce back. In the Stanley Cup Finals, though, we've seen Bobrovsky, though, completely fall apart off the loss like that. So looking for Bobrovsky to bring that heat tonight. Over 24.5 save shots on goal for Bobrovsky's coming in at minus 128. Edmonton is constantly firing that puck now in this series, and that's exactly what they have to do. Now, in those first 3 games, they were going low on Bob. You can't go low on Bobrovsky. He allowed that 1 goal through the 5-hole. Last game, game 4, they went high. And now we saw those crossbar hits in those first couple games. So they were trying to go high. They found the recipe to go high on Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky, I still think, faces close to 40 shots in this game. Last game being yanked, we weren't able to hit his save shots on goal prop, but over 24.5 at minus 128, I will play. Bobrovsky has to find a way to stop those shots right over his glove hand. So I do think Edmonton gets the shots. Bobrovsky goes over 24.5 save shots on goal. What else am I betting here? I'm going to play player props as well as that over 5.5. Matthew Tkachuk for the anytime goal coming in at plus 195 to plus 200. We've seen a little bit of movement on those odds. Looking at Matthew Tkachuk in his last 5 playoff series, he has been able to score at least 1 goal, yet to score a goal in this series. Here he has only the 1 assist versus the Edmonton Oilers. In the playoffs, 5 goals, 15 assists. The anytime goal tonight, I do think, is in play. When we look at Barkov here, he's been so phenomenally strong both ways of the puck. In the playoffs so far, 7 goals and 14 assists. He's had 1 goal and 3 assists versus the Edmonton Oilers, and I do think Barkov has a big explosive night tonight. I'm looking for Barkov for 2+ points. That's coming in at plus 255. Now, when we talk about Connor McDavid, we talked about his 4 points in the last game, one of those being the goal. I am expecting the same force of Connor McDavid. Lots of people expecting momentum to roll into this game. Confidence definitely will roll into this game for the Edmonton Oilers. Their backs still are up against a wall, though. They need to come out just how they came out in the last game for this one to go to game 6 for them to bring this back home. But they will force a game 7 if they're able to force this a game 5. So I think they'll win the next one at home if this comes back to Edmonton. Not sure if they'll be able to take it in 7. I'm still on the Florida Panthers here. So I'm looking at Connor McDavid for the 2+ points tonight. That's coming in at minus 102. You see the difference in value. It's hard to back Connor McDavid in any of his props because the books continue to juice him. Leon Draisaitl, he has been strong. I would stay off his props tonight. I do expect the big guys to come out to play, though. Evan Bouchard has been a little quieter than I would have expected during this series, and we know how strong Evan Bouchard is, as well as Brandon Montour. I'm looking for those offensive defensemen probably to both get a point. You'd have to parlay them together because both are still kind of juiced out there. So my best bets, the over 5.5. Matthew Tkachuk for the anytime goal at plus 195 to plus 200. Connor McDavid for the 2+ points at minus 102. And then Barkov 2+ points at plus 255. Florida in regulation is the move. I love it. I really do see it going that way, you guys. Selfishly, I want it to go to game 6 for sure because I'll be at the game. And I'd love to see Florida hoist the cup there. I really do, though, think this series could go all the way to 7. If Edmonton comes out and plays the same way that they did in the last one, and Bailey going here with the Oilers on the money line, it absolutely has a chance. Now, I do think this could go to overtime. Stuart Skinner has stood on his head. You guys liking the overtime bets. So let's make some freaking money out there, you guys. I hope they can prolong it too. I'm just not ready for hockey to be over for the season. I'm on Game Time Decisions tonight. Come over and join me. That is at 6:40 Eastern. So in the next 30 minutes here, I'm going to be talking some baseball as well as this hockey game. And to everyone out there that doesn't think the Edmonton Oilers are just as dirty as the Florida Panthers, I don't know. You're biased is with your fandom in the Edmonton Oilers. And that's all I've got to say about that topic. Lots of Oilers fans unhappy with the fact that I said that the Oilers are just as dirty as Florida. I'm tired of hearing Florida is the dirtiest team. It looks pretty dirty on all the corners out there. Lots of knees, lots of high sticks, lots of elbows to the face by both sides. Does it make it right by Florida being dirty as well? No, it doesn't make it right on either side there. So that's just my thoughts. If Edmonton loses the Stanley Cup Finals, again, this isn't because of Gary Bettman either. Canadians have to stop saying that. I don't believe any of that. There's no conspiracies out there to keep the cup in America. Canadian teams need to bring it. They need to bring it harder. Would I love a Canadian team to win the cup? Absolutely. I just have not thought from the very start of this playoffs that the Edmonton Oilers would be the team to be able to take out the top team out of the East. So that is where I have always been with my bets. This is nothing really against Edmonton as much as it is. I thought the Eastern Conference was stronger, and the team that came out of that series versus the Rangers would hoist the cup. So you guys, all the best in all your bets. Keep smiling. Hopefully we'll be back for game 6, but I really do think Florida closes it out tonight. You guys, talk to you soon.